The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, has declined an invitation to tonight's state banquet. He was, of course, invited as leader of the opposition and is instead going to address an anti-Trump protest in London tomorrow. Also due to speak as the Shadow Foreign Secretary, Emily Thornberry, who stands beside me right now. A very good evening to you, Shadow Foreign Secretary. Why not meet President Trump, from Jeremy Corbyn's point of view? He is the leader of the United States, and Jeremy Corbyn wants to become Prime Minister.
We have absolutely no problem meeting Donald Trump. We have absolutely no problem working with the United States. Our problem is giving this particular president the honour of a state visit and a state banquet. We don't think that he deserves it. We think that we should stand up to him and we should make clear why it is that we disagree with him. We also think that he's a bully and bullies need to be stood up to. And in our view, we're worried that his behaviour is becoming normalised. Everyone is saying, oh, well, it's Donald Trump. No, he is undermining the world order. He is tearing up the climate change agreements. He is tearing up the Iranian nuclear deal. He's treading all over any possibility of peace in the Middle East. And most importantly, we think that he's squaring up to Iran, a country which is 9 times the size of Syria. Now, there are a number of things, and frankly, we think that the government have been pusillanimous in their attitude to Donald Trump. Okay. And although we have a lot of values in common with America, we don't have those values in common with him, it would seem.
So if, as you hope, you get into government, which could be pretty soon, we don't know how things are going to break, do we? You would deal with Donald Trump, is that what you're saying?
Of course.
You would meet Donald Trump, you would just not have him for a state visit?
I would have been more than happy to speak to Donald Trump whenever he comes over, whenever he has a business visit, but I don't want to say the sort of things that I think should be said to him in front of Her Majesty at a state banquet. It would be completely inappropriate, as is this very state banquet. This is an honour. Only 3 American presidents have had a state visit, and normally we wait years before we decide whether or not they're worth it. But this one got, you know, he'd only just been sworn in, and Theresa May scuttling over there, holding his hand and inviting him over on behalf of Her Majesty for a state visit. We think it's completely wrong.
But, I mean, with respect, isn't the boot going to be on the other foot post-Brexit, if and when that happens, in that the United Kingdom needs to get a trade deal pretty soon, one would imagine, with the United States, and we're not particularly in the position to brush the Americans off.
I'm not talking about brushing off the Americans. I'm talking about standing up to this particular president. Of course, you go into if we leave the European Union, so if we're outside a customs union and we are negotiating our own trade deals, it will take many years, and we will do it carefully, and we will do it on the basis of what is in the interest of our country, and we will negotiate properly. You do not need this. He does not need to be eating off gold plates and having his whole family's photograph taken with Her Majesty in order to try and get himself re-elected. You know, we're not some kind of cuddly backdrop to some re-election campaign. We're the United Kingdom, and we have our own values, and we should stand up to him.
And are you giving us a clue to perhaps a future Labour foreign policy? One remembers back in the Blair years the ethical foreign policy that didn't really evolve under Robin Cook. Is that what you would have? You would refuse, for instance, state visits for the likes of, well, let's imagine, what, the Saudis, the Chinese, countries like that?
I mean, many people have asked me about this. They've said, you know, what about the Chinese state visit? You know, why didn't you object to that? And I think the truth is that it's because we have so many values in common with America. It's because we've been such close friends, such close allies.
It's because they are a democracy, and you're almost disappointed.
Yes. It's like when you're a close friend and your close friend is going wrong, you have to say so strongly. You know, actually, you know, China is further away from us, and, you know, we need to be drawing them in. Actually, frankly, if you talk about climate change, look at the difference in attitude between the Chinese and how well the Chinese, frankly, are doing in recognising the climate change emergency.
They're still building a lot of coal.
But they're also building an awful lot of renewable energy and leading the world. And when it comes to the international negotiations, taking a lead, as opposed to Donald Trump, who denies that it's even exists.
But that's an interesting point you're making, because the Chinese always were dictatorial and always have executed an awful lot of people and don't have due process, then that's fine, because they've always been like that.
Of course it's not fine. And of course I would say, you know, say exactly, and you'd need to come out and criticise. I mean, it's the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, and we do think that China is going backwards in terms of human rights, and of course that needs to be called out too. But the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump does not represent the sort of values that we hold in common with the United States, and we should say so. And I fear that this government does not say so and lets down the country by being as weak as they are.
What do you make of his attack, and it was an attack on Sadiq Khan, your former colleague in Parliament.
I mean, yeah, I mean, what is it? He's a nasty person. Meghan Markle, it seems. I mean,
well, is or isn't.
Well, I mean, you just listen to the tape. He said, I didn't know that she was a nasty person. She is the mother of the Queen's great-grandson. How dare he? How dare he, before he even leaves the tarmac, start tweeting about our mayor? I mean, honestly, he claims, hasn't he, according to another one of his tweets, that the streets are full of cheering worshippers saying how wonderful he is. Well, I haven't seen any. I think there's about 50 over there, and then there's hundreds behind here that we can hear, and tomorrow there will be hundreds of thousands of people out demonstrating.
Well, you're describing just now, we all know it, just how sensitive this president is to criticism. Now, given what you and your leader are going to say about him tomorrow in front of those protesters, if Jeremy Corbyn does become Prime Minister, don't you think it's going to be very difficult for him to get access to the White House?
Well, let's see. I mean, I have been out to the United States, and I have met many Congress people and senators with whom we share a lot of values, with whom I am more than happy to work. And it's very easy to work because they do care about the same things that we care about. And yes, it may be that one needs to work around the president. We will see. But it doesn't change the fact
so
that
you can imagine. I mean, this is the real world, that Jeremy Corbyn would travel as Prime Minister to Washington to meet President Trump.
Of course. That's not the point. The point is the state visit. The point is the honour of the state visit. Of course you have business. Of course we have things in common. Of course we have common interests. But the difficulty is that he is undermining the world order as it stands at the moment, and someone should say it. And frankly, if the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary won't say it, then we will.
Shadow Foreign Secretary, very good to talk to you. Thank you very much.